Tesla's pulling out, SpaceX is walking away, and Elon Musk just did the unthinkable. He threatened to end all United States government contracts, and then, reportedly, signed a secret deal with BRICS. While Washington ties itself in knots over tariffs, congressional hearings, and political subpoenas, Musk is on an entirely different trajectory. He's handing over Starlink to India, wiring Tesla's AI systems into China's energy infrastructure, and shifting billions of dollars in cutting-edge tech to countries that sit well outside United States influence. The Pentagon is ringing alarm bells, calling Musk a potential national security threat. The Treasury Department has opened an investigation into his overseas deals, and former President Donald Trump, he's dismissed him as crazy. But here's the kicker. What if this isn't some irrational outburst? What if it's a calculated move, not rebellion but succession? Because if Elon Musk no longer reports to Washington, then who does he report to? And more importantly, what happens when the man who controls the future of energy, communication, and AI decides the United States is no longer his priority? It all came to a head on June 5, 2025. Musk publicly lashed out at President Trump, accusing him of being ungrateful and declaring that he would terminate all active United States federal partnerships. The timing was no coincidence. It came just 72 hours after Tesla's stock tanked, losing 14.3% of its value, which translated into a massive $150 billion wipeout in market capitalization, according to Bloomberg. But this wasn't just an emotional reaction to market volatility. This was the final stage in a methodical exit strategy. For months, Musk had been carefully disentangling his companies from United States federal oversight. Tesla withdrew from electric vehicle programs that relied on United States government funding. SpaceX ended its collaboration with the Pentagon. Starlink, the satellite internet giant, pulled out of defense-related satellite evaluations. All of this happened with minimal public disclosure. No press conferences, no tweets, just quiet, deliberate exits. Then came his testimony before Congress on May 14th, where he made his intentions unambiguously clear. If the United States punishes innovation, I'll take innovation to the countries that still believe in it. Since then, Musk has acted as though Washington no longer exists in his equation. He's aligning Tesla, SpaceX, and Starlink with foreign governments, rerouting supply chains, re-engineering infrastructure, and investing in territories beyond America's regulatory jurisdiction. The Wall Street Journal reports that top federal officials were caught completely off guard by the speed and scope of his exit. One Department of Defense insider confessed anonymously, "We didn't lose Elon, we just made it too expensive for him to stay." But let's be clear, if this isn't a protest, then what exactly is it? And where is Musk building his empire now? It started with Starlink. Earlier in 2025, the Pentagon made a formal request to override Starlink's operational controls for defense missions. The request was denied. Shortly after, SpaceX was removed from 3 major United States satellite procurement programs valued at over $4 billion, confirmed by the Government Intelligence Office. Companies like Lockheed Martin and Raytheon stepped in to take over. Boeing was awarded a classified surveillance contract in the Pacific. But while the United States was cutting Musk out, BRICS nations were welcoming him in. South Africa, India, and Brazil rapidly ramped up Starlink adoption. During March 2025 talks, India outright rejected United States objections, declaring Starlink's expansion a domestic matter, as reported by Reuters. By June, Starlink was operational in 5 Indian states, with full national coverage slated for the fourth quarter. And it didn't stop there. Leaked procurement documents from Russia referenced non-state satellite providers with encrypted military-grade communications, widely interpreted as an indirect invitation to Musk's team. A senior analyst at Rand Corporation told Bloomberg Starlink isn't quitting the defense business. It's just switching allegiances. If that's true, then the implications are staggering. If Starlink no longer answers to the United States government, who determines where it flies, who it serves, and what it supports? Then came Tesla's next move. Following the March EV tariff hikes, Tesla severed ties with all federally supported EV infrastructure projects, including major charging corridors and clean energy grants. Instead, Musk turned south to Brazil. There, Tesla inked a $2.3 billion infrastructure deal, according to Brazil's Ministry of Communications. This included a nationwide EV charging network, as well as battery research and development centers, all entirely outside of United States jurisdiction. Meanwhile, critical Tesla supply chains were rerouted. Instead of flowing through ports in North America, new pathways were set up through South Africa and Malaysia, allowing Tesla to dodge compliance rules created by recent United States trade laws. According to Bloomberg Intelligence, this shift alone reduced Tesla's exposure to the United States market by 38% in the second quarter of 2025. This is not a reaction, it's a rebuild. Musk is creating a parallel supply ecosystem designed to operate without the United States. One senior Tesla source told the Financial Times that this entire strategy is about building a firewall against future policy whiplash, and that firewall is expanding, fast. Let's turn to China. In May 2025, officials in Guangdong province gave quiet approval for Tesla's AutoBidder AI platform to be used in local energy balancing systems. This made it the first United States-built algorithm embedded in China's government-linked energy grid this year. AutoBidder was originally designed to optimize Tesla fleets, but now it's regulating automated electricity distribution in some of China's most energy-intensive industrial zones. There was no Tesla branding, no PR blitz, just silent deployment in the back-end systems of one of the world's most powerful state-run infrastructures. Why wasn't it blocked like Google or NVIDIA's AI systems? Because Tesla registered it as a commercial non-vehicle energy platform, a loophole that slipped it past Titan 2024 export restrictions. United States Treasury officials have since launched a formal compliance review, but Musk insists the software does not violate any classified export regulations. But here's what one Center for Strategic and International Studies expert told Reuters. This isn't about licenses, it's about sovereignty. Musk just embedded American AI into China's power grid, and China may just be the beginning. Back in 2020, the Pentagon gave SpaceX a front-row seat in United States defense modernization. By mid-2025, SpaceX had been shut out, while BRICS nations raced to onboard Starlink without United States approval. In May, Brazil requested a nationwide Starlink rollout tied to a $1.1 billion broadband for education initiative. In April, South Africa's parliament shortlisted Starlink for emergency network delivery. India and Brazil are now coordinating satellite standards, naming Starlink as a primary integrator, completely bypassing Washington. These aren't minor tech deals, they're national infrastructure partnerships, built without oversight from the country that once funded Musk's biggest breakthroughs. So we ask again, if Musk doesn't answer to Washington and he's not pledging loyalty elsewhere, then who, if anyone, is in charge of the most powerful civilian technology network on Earth? On May 29, 2025, the United States Treasury began quietly investigating whether Tesla's AI platforms, now operating in foreign state-controlled utilities, should be categorized as dual-use technology under newly revised export laws. The review focuses on Tesla's AutoBidder and grid balancing tools, which are already embedded in China, Brazil, and South Africa. Musk's legal team maintains that the platforms are commercially non-sensitive, but Reuters reports Treasury is treating the case as a test of AI trade enforcement under the expanded 2023 CHIP Act. No penalties have been issued yet, but Wall Street Journal sources say this case could define how and where United States-developed AI can legally operate without triggering federal intervention. This isn't just trade law. This is about redefining national security boundaries and asking if a private tech empire can outgrow the very government that built it. And while Washington is scrambling to react, some are simply moving on. By June 2025, Musk's companies were quietly removed from two of the federal government's highest-profile technology advisory groups. Tesla was dropped from the Federal EV Infrastructure Forum. X.AI was excluded from the National AI Strategy Group, replaced by Amazon, Microsoft, and Anthropic. A White House official told the Financial Times the decision was based on, quote, persistent alignment issues, particularly around Musk's unpredictable foreign energy and satellite alliances. This purge came just weeks after SpaceX denied Pentagon override access, and Tesla finalized its independent EV infrastructure deal in Brazil. Musk's response: if DC wants control, it should build its own infrastructure. We'll build where we're needed. Bloomberg calls this moment a shift from cooperative decoupling to strategic sidelining, and that shift is now irreversible. While Washington seems to be gradually cutting ties with Elon Musk, something unexpected is happening on the other side of the world. America's own allies, Countries that have historically aligned with United States policies are beginning to question their relationship with Musk and the technology he controls. The big issue? What if Musk's loyalty and his satellites don't come with a US-friendly override switch? As of mid-2025, major US allies, including Germany, Japan, and Australia, have each launched formal investigations into their dependence on Starlink, the satellite internet service owned by Musk's company, SpaceX. These nations are worried about one thing: in the middle of a global crisis, who really controls Starlink? And if it's Musk, not the military or government, then what happens when decisions are made based on personal judgment instead of strategic protocol? According to the Wall Street Journal, Germany's Federal Network Agency is now looking into reports that Starlink refused to follow NATO's emergency communications protocols. That refusal could mean that in a war or military emergency, the system might not be available when it's most needed, or worse, could be shut off. Meanwhile, Japan's Ministry of Internal Affairs delayed approvals for Starlink's national rollout, explaining that there's no clear plan for who would manage the system during a conflict or wartime event. Then there's Australia, which raised red flags in a recent May defense briefing. Officials pointed to Musk's decisions to shut down Starlink access near Gaza and Crimea, two politically sensitive regions. In both cases, Musk acted unilaterally and without oversight. That's a dangerous precedent, especially when the network is being used for things like military communications, surveillance, and disaster response. These aren't just theoretical concerns. Today, Starlink forms a critical part of emergency infrastructure across multiple countries. It powers remote broadband, supports surveillance systems, and helps maintain communication in conflict zones where traditional networks don't function. One advisor to NATO told Bloomberg that Starlink is now a strategic asset, but without a proper chain of command. That's a serious problem when national security is at stake. And yet, despite all of this, none of these governments have pulled the plug. Why? Because Starlink, for all its risks, is still the best option on the market. It offers faster speeds, stronger coverage, and better prices than any existing legacy network. In many places, there simply isn't a good alternative. That's how deeply Musk's influence runs. But here's the twist. While America's allies are getting nervous, China is moving in the opposite direction. Not only is Beijing not pulling back, it's actually inviting Musk in even deeper. In a move that shocked both policymakers and industry insiders, China gave Tesla full regulatory approval in May 2025 to expand its Gigafactory in Shanghai and to launch an AI-powered fleet optimization system across the country. And this happened just 2 weeks after the United States increased tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, clearly signaling a worsening trade dispute. Bloomberg reports that Tesla didn't just get permission to build more, it got special rights to use land for battery production and was exempted from certain data rules that even powerful local companies like BYD have struggled to bypass. That's no small favor. It's a sign that China is making room for Musk in its long-term plans. Even more surprising, local officials in Anhui province confirmed that Tesla will co-lead a public-private EV research center in Hefei, a move that will be partially funded by Chinese state subsidies. These subsidies are designed to help offset Tesla's production cuts in the United States, giving the company a soft landing in China even as tensions rise elsewhere. While most American tech firms are withdrawing from China under tightening export controls and rising suspicion, Musk is scaling up. By mid-2025, Tesla is the only major U.S. tech firm expanding inside China's core strategic industries. And that's raising serious questions about how China views Musk, not as a geopolitical opponent, but as a business partner with unique value. One Asia-Pacific trade analyst summed it up in the Financial Times. China doesn't need to own Musk. It just needs to give him enough room to move. In other words, as long as Musk can build, test, and scale inside China, Beijing is content. They don't need to control him. They just need him to keep choosing them over Washington. And that's where the deeper concern begins. The big question isn't just whether Musk still needs America. It's whether America can afford to lose him. Because what we're seeing now isn't just a disagreement over tech policy. It's a geopolitical custody battle. And the subject at the center, the most influential technologist on Earth. By mid-2025, Musk isn't just ignoring U.S. policy restrictions. He's actively building a future that works around them. Tesla's AI is helping power and optimize China's national energy grid. Starlink is growing in countries like India, Brazil, and South Africa, far away from the influence of the US government or military. SpaceX now schedules 40% of its launches for international clients, a major shift from a company once deeply tied to US defense needs. And xAI, Musk's artificial intelligence firm, is now training its models in UAE data centers, beyond the jurisdiction of Washington's regulatory agencies. Meanwhile, the US is playing catch-up. Officials are trying to rebuild trust with allies, find replacements for Musk in strategic planning, and investigate what exactly they helped create through years of subsidies and support. This is the real cost of losing leverage, not because Musk declared himself an enemy of the state, but because, as he's said himself, America became a place where innovation gets punished. So now the final question becomes unavoidable. Did the US just lose the one technologist it couldn't afford to lose? Or has Musk simply shown the world a new blueprint, one that other companies and even rival nations will now race to copy? Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. And if this video made you think, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and check out our next story that's right here on your screen.